Welcome students, welcome to the second part of my video, Swarajya to Empire, topic number 16, FYJC History. My dear students, we have already seen the two efficient rulers who dominated the Maratha power. One was Shahaji Raje, who was a good associate of Nizam Shahi. Later on we saw that he acquired Jagir from Nizam Shahi. After the death of Nizam Shah, he decided to administer Swarajya in Maharashtra, to remove all the foreign rulers and to bring Swarajya. We also saw that he selected Jijamata, his wife, and his efficient son Shivaji Maharaj. And we saw in the first part how efficiently he established Swarajya, which was a dream of Shahaji Raje. And as he was establishing, we saw at last Shivaji Maharaj gave up his life. He died. And in this part, we are going to see how Shambhaji Raje, Chhatrapati Shambhaji Maharaj, carried out his administration as efficiently as Shivaji Maharaj. But as compared to Shivaji Maharaj, he was not so efficient. But yet, he could achieve a landmark in Maratha history. Now, my students, let us see, after the death of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Shambhaji Maharaj was coronated as the king of Swarajya. During his reign, there was a constant conflict with Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb's rebellious son Akbar had friendly relation with Shivaji Maharaj. Enraged by this, Aurangzeb came down to Deccan along with a huge army and his able Sardars, who were the veterans of the warfare. For next 25 years, he camped in Maharashtra, fought against the Marathas. But he could not succeed destroying the Swarajya. Aurangzeb killed Chhatrapati Shambhaji Maharaj in a cruel manner. Aurangzeb hoped that the Maratha power will be weakened with Shambhaji Maharaj's death. But it did not happen. Instead, Marathas unitedly fought against the Mughals and expanded their rule. After the death of Shambhaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Rajaram took over the reign at Raigad. Aurangzeb sent Zulfikar Khan to seize the fort of Raigad. Chhatrapati Rajaram, Maharani Tarabai and Maharani Yesubai and her son Prince Shahu were staying in Rajgarh. All the Maratha royalties, thus staying in one place was dangerous. It would have been a strategic to fight the Mughals from two places at a time. Maharana Yesubai asked Chhatrapati Rajaram to leave for Jinji. Maharana Yesubai herself stayed back at Rajgarh, continued to fight. In 1689 CE, the Mughals succeeded in taking charge of Raigad. Maharana Yesubai, Prince Shahu were arrested and sent to Delhi. Maharana Yesubai remained in captivity of the Mughals for next 30 years. While leaving Jinji, Rajaram entrusted Ramchandra Pant, Amatya, Shankarji Narayan, Sachiv, Santaji Gorpade, Dhalaji Jadhav with the responsibility of defending Raigad. The guerrilla tactics of Santaji and Danaji proved a large-scale artillery and huge cannons of the Mughals to be of little use. Despite holding few assets, Marathas occupied to create havoc for Mughals. Rajaram Maharaj safeguarded Swarajya in these trying times. This was a great task itself with the success of Rajaram Maharaj. After the death of Rajaram Maharaj, his wife Maharani Tarabai continued to fight against Aurangzeb. Maharani Tarabai led Swarajya movement under extreme unfavorable condition. She single-handedly took charge of the administration, fought for Swarajya for 25 long years with the help of her Sardars. At the time, Marathas had to fight Mughals on the land beyond boundaries of Swarajya, but she did not stop them. This was an indication that the scenario of the war was changing. The Maratha War of Independence was a tussle between Mughal ambitions of expanding the empire, desire of independence cherished by the Marathas. Finally, the death of Aurangzeb put an end in fighting with the Marathas. In the beginning, the Mughal rulers adopted an aggressive policy while Maratha policy remained that of defense. But the second half of 18th century, the conditions changed. With the awakening of Mughal power, and the Marathas continued to extend their rule almost all over India. Now we will see the administrative system established by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Now, as we all know, he was not alone who was ruling Swarajya. He had Ashtapradhan, the council of 8 ministers. After the coronation, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj gave different posts to different people. The post included Peshwa, Amatya, Sachiv, Mantri, Senapati, Sumant, Nyayadish and Pandit Rao. And Shivaji Maharaj had a very good intelligence. Baharji Naik, who was the chief of this network, before starting on any expedition, Shivaji obtained detailed information from his spies and planned his expedition. When the ministers went to expedition, the representative, Mutalik, looked after the administration. Now, I have already told you, he had several appointments and departments. He had departments of ministry. One was Diwan, secretary, Majumdar, auditor and accountant, Fadnis, deputy auditor, Subnis, office in charge, Karkhanis, commissary, Chitnis, correspondence clerk, Jamdar, treasurer, Poddar, Assi master. His kingdom was divided into 2 parts for the sake of administration. One, it was a province which was geographically bound together, other comprised of scattered region in south. The first province was divided into 3 sections. the northern section was assigned to the Peshwas, which included the regions from Salar to Pune to the North Konkan. The central part consisted of South Konkan, Samantwadi and Karwar. This was assigned to Sachiv. And the third part in the region of High Plateau, that is Satara, Vahi to Belgaum and Kopal, which was assigned to Mantri. A separate Suba of Karnataka was created and Hambirao Mohite and Raghunath Narayan Amatya was appointed on it. Subedars were appointed in all these regions in association with Pradhans. This was known as Rajmandal. The appointment of Kilidar, keeper of the fort, Karkun, clerk, was made by king himself. The Pradhans had to submit annual accounts to Shivaji Maharaj. Sarsubedars taking care of provincial administrations were called as Desh Adhikari. There was difference between administration under Islamic rule and the administration by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Sarsubas in the Swarajya was meant to be a zonal division for overall administration, while under Islamic rule, the division merely served as a purpose of revenue collection. The Subedars were assisted by Deshmukhs and Deshpandis. The main task of the Deshmukh was to collect the land revenue, to develop wasteland into cultivable land, and to settle new villages. All government officials received salaries in the form of cash instead of land grants or jagir. Village was the basic unit of the human settlement. The people were provided with cattle, seed, money for daily utilities. The farmers were given a period of 2 years to repay the advance after good harvest. This system is called Batai system. Now, my dear students, we will see the release of Shahu Maharaj. As we all know, Shahu Maharaj was arrested by the Mughals. So Mughal continued their effort to defeat the Marathas even after the death of Aurangzeb. For that purpose, they adopted a strategy of dividing the Marathas. They released Shahu Maharaj from the captivity in 1707 CE. After his release, there was a conflict between Maharani Tarabai and Shahu Maharaj. Shahu Maharaj won, and ensuing the battle, Balaji Vishwanath played an important role on behalf of Shahu Maharaj, and later on he was appointed as Peshwa. Now, Peshwa period. When I say Peshwa, Balaji Vishwanath, his son Bajirao I was appointed as a Peshwa. He expanded the Maratha Empire up to Malwa, Rajasthan, Bundelkhand. He defeated the Nizam. After Bajirao I, Balaji Bajirao alias Nana Sahib was appointed as a Peshwa. Meanwhile, the Marathas were defeated in the third battle of Panipat. The Maratha rule became weak. Madhavrao Peshwa tried to re-establish the Maratha power. The defeat in Panipat was not just a political defeat, it lowered the morale of the Marathas greatly. Madhavrao Peshwa tried to elevate the spirit of Marathas to re-establish Maratha power in the north. The Marathas were successful in overcoming the great defeat at Panipat and create politically strong position for themselves in the politics of the north. The factor which was very important was Maharala Holkar, Ahilyabai Holkar, Raoji Bhonsle, Maharji Shinde, Nana Fadnavis played a great role in re-establishing the Maratha influence. Maharala Holkar was the founder of Holkar state at Indore. He served the Maratha power for a long time. He gave great share in establishing the Maratha prestige in the north. After the death of Khadirao, his son Malavrao Ahilyabai Holkar assumed the reign of Indore administration, and Maheshwar was the seat of the administration. Under her, she built temples, ghats, dharmshalas, and drinking water facilities at various pilgrim centers. She was a very capable administrator. Raghuji Bhonsle was the most capable ruler of Bhonsle of Nagpur. He brought the region in eastern India up to Bengal under the Maratha dominance. After the miserable defeat of Marathas at the Panipat, Mahaj Shinde was instrumental in re-establishing the Maratha supremacy. The Maratha supremacy's prestige in North India. He trained his army and modernized the artillery under the guidance of French military expert Benoit. Mahadji managed to difficult affairs with strong determination, remained in charge of Delhi affairs during 1771 CE. In 1794 CE, Nana Fadnavis, Mahadji Shinde set affairs of the state right after the death of Peshwa Madhav Rao. The two Peshwas succeeded the Peshwa Madhav Rao, namely Narayan Rao and Savai Madhav Rao. They did not live long. Untimely death set the decline of Maratha power. At the time, Mughal power had become weak. Taking advantage of the situation, the British started interfering in the internal affairs of the Maratha Sardars. Peshwa Bajirao II was defeated by the British and the British established supremacy over India. The British brought entire India under their dominance. Thus, I end the second part of my video. If you like it, please do like the video. If you have not subscribed it, please do subscribe it. And if others are not aware of this video,